Okay, so are there questions about the material, things you didn't understand, things that didn't make sense to you? I'm not starting where we left off, but I want to talk about a couple of those things. No questions? Okay, so first, before we get any further, let's talk about VLANs. I want participation. I want communication from people that normally don't answer questions. Tell me about VLANs. Why do we want VLANs? What's the purpose? You answer questions. Thank you very much. But I don't want to listen to you today. What is the purpose of a VLAN?
A VLAN is implemented to segment a network.
Okay, that's one purpose, to segment networks. It's actually, that is its purpose. It segments networks, and then there are some benefits to that. Yes?
It restricts access to or actually secures the other networks too.
It secures the other. Give me some examples. Somebody give me a real live, thank you, Austin, but again, I want to get some of these other guys. Give me a real live example, of why a VLAN could be appropriate. Yes?
You can use it to stop hackers.
You can, very good. You can. That's a very practical. You can use it to stop hackers. Someone else explain how you can use a VLAN to stop hackers. Again, someone who, how about the Triton contingents? Yes?
There's different parts of the network and they're all between firewalls.
I didn't hear what to the network?
There's different parts of the network and they're all behind firewalls.
Okay, the terminology is a little bit off, but the concept is good, right? It compartmentalizes. That's a big 4-syllable. Holy cow, that's a 6-syllable word. Okay, it compartmentalizes the network, which means it's not going to keep somebody from hacking a good portion of it, not necessarily even hacking, but denying service on a small portion of it. But that compartmentalization protects the other ones. If you break a 24-port network into 6 VLANs, 5 of them are going to be good to go no matter what happens on the first one. Okay? It will segment the network, break it up into pieces, so that, one, you can protect the other segments against hackers or against denial of service attacks, but that's usually not the reason we implement. It's a benefit, but it's not the main reason we implement VLANs. You know what, and that's not fair. For security is definitely a major reason we use VLANs, but kind of in a different way. All right, who else? Jordan, give me another reason. It reduces collisions. Outstanding. Did you read that off your notes, or was that outstanding? Okay. It reduces collisions. Somebody tell me how CSMA-CD works in an Ethernet network. Carrier sense multiple access collision detection. Did you guys watch that video that I told you to watch? I think it was in that video. There was a video that had little pictures of collisions and stuff. It was part of the additional whatever. Help me out, Jessica. Go to additional, yeah, that video, YouTube, networking fundamentals, maybe, I think it was in there. Okay, so it helps to reduce collision. CSMA-CD is the overriding set of rules, if you will, on how an Ethernet network works. Tell me about CSMA-CD, carrier sense multiple access collision detection. One more from the Triton contingent. Brittany, you can run, but you can't hide. CSMA-CD, what's it do? Anyone know? Raise your hand if you know, whether I'm going to call on you or not. Raise your hand if you know what CSMA-CD is. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 34. CSMA-CD. All right, go look it up. CSMA/CD. And then look it up on Google. Somebody give me a definition. I want you to read verbatim the definition of CSMA-CD. Austin?
Yeah. Oh, you want like a
Look it up on Google. I want the written definition of CSMA-CD.
carrier sense multiple access with collision detection is a media access control method used most notably in local area networking using early Ethernet technology. Uses a carrier sensing scheme which transmitting data stations detect other signals while transmitting a frame.
Stop. The key point of what he just said, uses carrier signals. How exactly was that put? Carrier signals to detect what?
To detect,
Read that again.
it detects other signals while transmitting a frame, so they're not both
It
transmitting.
detects other signals while transmitting a frame. Okay? Which means only one device on the network can speak. Okay, so back to what was said earlier about the benefit of a VLAN, it helps prevent collisions. When two devices on an Ethernet network talk at the exact same time, we have a what? Collision. Collision. Collisions are bad because in an Ethernet network, Miguel, in an Ethernet network, when two devices have a collision, based on CSMA-CD, what happens when that collision takes place? Do you know? No idea? Austin, what is it?
When you have a collision, you lose data from both ends.
You lose the data, you have a problem, yep, and it's not transmitted properly. But what do all the other devices on the network do when they detect a collision? Zach?
Don't they stop transmitting?
They stop transmitting to say, oh, back off, okay? You guys finish what you got to say, and then I'll talk when I get a chance. And so that slows down the network. So we segment VLANs, or we segment networks into VLANs to help prevent collisions. In addition to that, a broadcast is not necessarily a collision, but what happens when one computer broadcasts based upon the rules of CSMA-CD Christopher? What happens when one computer broadcasts on an Ethernet network? It what? Everything? It sends it out to everything, absolutely, but can the others talk during that? No. The others have to sit there and listen because only one device. I mean, it's super fast, but in a fiber network, it's that speed of light. But it's super fast, but they still have to wait until they're broadcasting. And so what a VLAN will do will also separate what we call broadcast networks. Write that down. A VLAN will, another benefit of a VLAN is it will isolate broadcast networks. Give me one example, one that we've used over and over and over again, Jill. Give me one example of broadcast traffic that is necessary. Can you think of it?
Can't get it off the top of my head.
You got it in your head? What? Or
I said I can't think of it off the top of my
it's
head.
not in your head? Okay. Give up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. DHCP, okay? Now, here's your opportunity to redeem yourself, Jill. What is DHCP? What's its purpose? I don't necessarily have to know what the acronym stands for because it doesn't really tell you. You know what DHCP is? Not really? Seth, with his back to me, so I won't call on him. Seth, what is DHCP?
It is DHCP is
Okay, let me give you a hint. See, here's one. Click in there, find on this page. DHCP. There. Yeah, no matches. Not good. Okay, if you use the OneNote version, those searches are a lot faster too, instead of web version. DHCP, what's DHCP? Okay, how many of you heard that? One more time, sound off.
It's all that host IP addresses.
Did you hear that, Taylor? All right, we're gonna do the presentations coming up next week, after the field trip. Actually, maybe the following week, we're gonna start doing presentations. As he said, DHCP assigns all of the hosts, and thank you for using that term instead of computers, because it's not necessarily just computers. DHCP assigns IP addresses to all the hosts. Yes?
So I was thinking about this. Say if people were all on like one network, like LAN or VLAN, doesn't really matter. If like say they were working for a company and everyone would send some kind of mass message that they all needed to say like attend a meeting. Would that be considered broadcast?
Actually, that's a good question. So it depends on the application. So Austin's question, Austin, right? Yes. Austin's question was if 50 people or 100 people or 1,000 people on a network were all sent the same message to show up at this meeting at a particular time, would that be considered a broadcast? It could be based upon the applications that's being used. If it's an email, no. If it is, we'll come back to it. Will you stop that video, please, while I go to break?
You know.